Hello and welcome. I'm Glenn Patterson and I'm joined here by Eddie Linden. Eddie Linden is a poet and an editor who 36 years ago began Aquarius magazine. This year is Eddie's 70th birthday, and to mark his birthday, a special edition of Aquarius, Eddie's own Aquarius, has been published with contributions by 115 visual artists, poets and prose writers. Welcome, Eddie. Eddie, could you begin by telling us a bit about your early life, where you were born, where you grew up?
I was born in Carroll Island. I was illegitimate. My mother left. She left Carroll Island. I must have been about a couple of months old to come over to go over to her mother's in Scotland. She was the oldest of three brothers. She was born in 1905 in Gortmaskee, which my grandmother, on my grandmother's side, my mother's mother, she was a Quinn, and she was from Dungannon. She had a sister in Motherwell. I was adopted in more or less by the family. It turned out that my mother's brother Paddy had a brother-in-law called Eddie Linden. So I went from being Sean Edward Glacken to Eddie Linden.
And what age were you?
I must have been a couple of months. I may have been 6 months or something. But I remember visiting Carroll Island years later when I met my mother's first cousin, and her first words was took me when she met me. She said, "Oh," I said, "Oh, I come from here. My family are all from here, Carroll Island." And what was your mother's name? I says, "Bessie Glacken." She made the sign of the cross. And but Jesus, did the man no pay the money? In those days, something like that.
Your childhood then, growing up in
I
Glasgow.
I had a terrible childhood. My stepfather remarried, and he married a very sectarian woman, and it was awful. I'm lucky to be here. I was put into orphanage after, orphanage to aunt. I was like a wee stray dog, and she was just, I could never say a good word for the stepmother.
What age are you talking about here?
I'm talking about the age of 10. And then I was put into a Catholic orphanage. And at first, she tried to put me back to my mother. My mother was then living in Glasgow and married a man from Crossmaglen, Terry Quinn. And it was a terrible thing because he had married my mother, but he didn't want his family to see that my mother had an illegitimate child. And as time went on, I was discovered that my father was from Cullaville, a man called Joe Waters. I never got to see that side of the family. I got to know my mother's side. And when I went searching my first time in '56, and when I came over to the island on my own, I went looking for my family. And I went to the wrong end. I went to Dublin, and I actually went. I luckily met my grandfather's brother. He was a very old man, my great uncle, John Glacken. He'd been a carpenter. They were from Carroll Island, and they were a well-known family in Carroll. They were carpenters. But at that period of my life, it's been very hard. I did an interview for the Guardian about it. It's so difficult to talk about. He works in bronze, creating matter and steel, not like them who sit on high stools, passing out unpublished work, while someone labours into the night amid the lightning flash of a welder's rod. His is not just of brain as of sweat, nor do you find a man in idle talk and intellectual bars. Only in the gallery will you find the finished piece and find the man.